Hey everyone, and welcome to tutorial 3 of Learn How to Play Conquest. In this tutorial we're going to go over unit abilities. So this is a big part of the game. And we're going to also build on some of the foundations we discussed before, like attack and assault. So again, I have a couple units out in the battlefield. These are marks units out in the battlefield, and then we also have our locations and the units defending those locations. So I'll take the first turn. So again, I enable all of my unable units. And then I take my income. I'm getting 11 gold, but I have 10 gold in sustained costs. So I could take 11 and then go down to 1, but I'm just going to take 1 and make the math in my head because I'm keeping all of them alive. And I get 7 mana. I have no mana sustained costs, so I get all 7 of that mana. Then I'm going to draw 2 cards. Oh, okay. I have 2 mana sustained. I want to keep him alive. So I draw 2 cards. I can barter 1, draw a new card. And then my turn begins. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is use this unit. This unit introduced a new ability called snipe. Units that are archer types, which the type is written on the bottom of the card, have an ability called snipe. It has a certain value, snipe 10, snipe 20, snipe 30, and basically what that allows the unit to do is to disable, to deal that much damage to a local unit. A local unit is in the same region, so if it's out in the battlefield, I can move out to the battlefield to snipe. When I do the snipe, there's no counterattack, so they deal no damage back to me. That's the big advantage of it. So I'm going to use this unit, which is a 2015 Snipe 15. I'm going to move out to the battlefield. Then I have 4 different units I can choose to attack or snipe, or I could also guard, remember? I'm going to choose to snipe his 2010 unit. That's going to put its health at -5 and kill it. Again, no counterattack on me, so my guy is made in the shade. What's next? I'm going to bring this unit out. Now this unit has a spell which indicates S. It says, you probably can't read it, it says S:, and it reads, disable twice to pierce a local unit with a spear of ice, deal 40 damage to it. So local unit, again, same region, so I had to move out to target one of them. And as far as disable twice goes, that means when I disable, I'm going to also put an additional disable counter on him, which means next turn I'll just remove the counter, and then the turn after he'll actually be enabled. So it's disabled for 2 turns. But then the ability is deal 40 damage to a local unit, so it's pretty powerful. So I'm going to direct this 40 damage spell over at this 30-20 character, putting him at -20, also ruining him. Just like with a snipe, with a spell, there's no counterattack. So, very cool. Okay, and then the last ability I'm going to go over in my turn is mounting. And this is a core part of the game, one of the most fun things about the game. If you have a unit with a mount ability, it can link up with another unit with a corresponding creature type. So, for instance, a standard mount ability, which will be written on the card, means that it can mount a steed. If it has beast mount, it can mount a beast or a steed. And if it has dragon mount, it can mount a dragon or a steed. So any special mount can also mount a steed, because the steed is just a standard mount. Okay, so I have this guy, the Leafy Barbarian. He has beast mount. And then I also have this guy, Skeletal Hound, which is a creature beast type. This means that since they're both able, and they're both in the same region, so either both in the battlefield or both in the same location, they can go ahead and mount. And there is no disabling required to do that. So they are both able and in the battlefield now. I had a 50-45 and a 25-15, so they combine their strike and armor for a 75-60 unit now. Okay, so again, now this unit he's able in the battlefield. I can choose to attack any units out in the battlefield, or I can choose to assault any of his locations. I'm going to go ahead, since I have such a powerful unit, and assault his encampment with this 75-60 unit.
Okay. In my encampment here, I have a 20-60 with snipe 30, and I also have a 20-20. Since Brian's assaulting me, remember, I can choose which units to block him with if I want to block him with any units, and in which order. So I'm going to go ahead and start by blocking this big guy with my 20-20.
Okay, so I deal him 75, completely destroy him. He deals me 20, putting me at 40 health. Now if he wanted to, he could choose just to not block anymore and no damage will get through. Of course, if he wants to try and kill my unit, ruin my unit, then he can choose to keep blocking.
So I have an able archer in my encampment. Since this unit is able, I can also snipe on Brian's turn. I'm going to go ahead and use my ability snipe. Since Brian is assaulting my location, these units are now local to this location. So I'm going to disable and snipe you for 30.
Boom. Okay, so I had 60 armor, which was reduced to 40 health because I was dealt 20 damage by the infantry. Now I've been dealt another 30 damage, so my health is down to 10.
Remember, even if a unit isn't able, they could still block. So I'm going to go ahead and now block you with my 26.
So now, as always, they both deal strike to the other one's armor. 20 puts my 10 health to -10. I deal him 75, so I also smoke him. Both units are ruined. And no damage got through, puts he blocked. Okay. Last thing I want to do is also use this guy, Praven Vandal, who has Beast Mount, with this guy, the Leatherback, who is a steed. So again, I can mount a steed or a beast with the Beast Mount. Link them up, so just stack him right on top. They're now a 55-35 unit. I will move them out and go ahead and attack his unit, the Lepar Cavalry. It's a 2015 unit, but as if you can tell, it's put on guard, which is a 90-degree tap to the left, which doubles its armor, but it reduces its attack to essentially 0 because the unit can no longer counterattack. So it's basically a 0-30. So I'm going to hit him for 55 damage, putting him at -25. He deals me nothing, so I take no damage, and his unit is ruined. I have no money because I paid so much for all those guys, so my turn is up.
Okay. The first thing I'm going to do on my turn is enable all my unable units. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my income, which is 10 gold and 8 mana. 10 gold and 2, 4, 6, 8 mana. I have to pay 2 mana to sustain this Long-Billed Carestes, and I have to pay 3 gold for the Pterodon Knight and 1 gold for the Viros Aeromancer. So I'm going to pay out 4 gold sustain costs, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw my 2 cards and decide what I want to do here. Okay, looking at a 55-35, that's something I can deal with. I'm going to go ahead and bring out the Pterodon Knight, and he's a 40-45. I'm going to use him to attack your 55-35.
Okay, so my 55 damage will put him at -10, and his 40 will put me at -5, so both units are going to be ruined now.
Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and move out this 10-15 Silvermaned Escort and attack your Praven Marksman. Now the important thing to keep in mind is after I declare this attack, we still both have an opportunity to make additional moves, to take additional actions. So what I'm going to do is, maybe you can see this, I've got this wizard here, right? And so this Aeromancer is a 20-20 with a spell that reads, disable to invigorate a distant unit. It gets +10, -10 this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and disable the Aeromancer to give the Escort another +10, -10, turning it into a 25.
Okay. And note that his unit says to invigorate a distant unit, whereas the other one said local, and that meant in the same region. Distant means it can be one space away, one region away, or the same region. So since he's in the battlefield, that's one space away, or one move away. He's in the location, sorry. He's one move away from the battlefield, so he can go ahead and direct his spell at that unit. So now his Escort's a 25, my guy's a 20-15. If I know the drill by now, they're both going to kill each other.
Finally, since I have this 30-30 able in the battlefield, I'll go ahead and assault Brian's encampment for 30 damage.
So that deals me 30 damage. And again, you get about 100 health. So, alright, so just to recap, we went over a couple different abilities. There's Snipe, which just has a value which you can just basically disable and deal that much damage without a counterattack. There are spells that units have, which are indicated by S, which they basically just do what they read. If it says local, you can direct it at a unit in the same region. If it says distant, you can direct it at a unit in the same region or one space away. So he wouldn't be able to use his Aeromancer to hit something in one of my locations, for instance. And then of course there's also other, other abilities that are just on cards that don't necessarily have a keyword, and they'll just explain how to do them as they read. The text on a card will always read first with the cost, so they'll say pay X mana, X gold, or disable, which is the cost, so you have to be able in order to disable, and then it will read with the effect afterwards. So pretty simple stuff. In the last video we'll go ahead and go over some of the other types of cards that we haven't encountered yet, and then we'll be done, and you will be ready to play yourself. So we'll see you next time.